Hello everyone, today I'll be giving you the narration of Wuthering Waves 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4 story. Just a note that 1.2 is a bit of a filler story and it mostly focuses on Xiangling Yao. Because of that, 1.2 summary will be fairly short compared to 1.3. For 1.3, there are actually a lot of reveals and lore drops. We won't be able to go into details regarding them because it will be a minimum hour-long video. For 1.4, it will be shorter than 1.2 as it feels more like a pit stop, but the Psalm Nora does seem very important. Again, there'll be some interpretation of my own thoughts added. If you need a quick refresher on 1.0 and 1.1, please check out my other videos. Anyways, let's begin. We start off 1.2 with meeting Qisha, Yang Yang, and Baizhi to prepare for the Moon Chasing Festival. Paying a visit to the Wishing Tree at Moon Tree Lodge, Rover meets Xiangling Yao. Xiangling Yao is the person behind the Wishing Tree alongside a robot named Patty. However, Patty is currently infected with a virus. An abnormal frequency fluctuation was detected inside it. Spending time analyzing the virus and fulfilling other wishes, Xiangling Yao would not have time to investigate the source of the virus. Thus, he enlists Rover's help. Analyzing Patty, Xiangling Yao found that the source of the virus was due to some wishes. However, the wishes had dangerous context to them, thus making Patty unable to analyze it. To help Rover on this investigation was Patty's work buddy, Shang Li. Yes, that Li. Shang Li's job is to help make the wishes a reality. To keep this short and concise, I'll be giving you a brief summary of each one until the final wish. However, each of these side quests has a lot of emotion and a message to it, so I do recommend everyone to play through it if they have the time. I don't believe a summary can properly convey the emotion and message properly. For the first wish, a wish from a researcher going by the name Xiao Shang who wishes to disappear. As Rover was doing their research, they briefly met Zheji, a painter. She wasn't really relevant to the wish, and I believe it was just a way for Kuro to introduce her. Questioning the researcher at Huashu Academy, we met Xu Fan, who was a very happy-go-lucky type of person, but there was no information from him. Questioning Zhu Li, we learned that Xu Fan is actually Xiao Shang. It turns out that Xu Fan blames himself for Zhu Li's injury during a research incident years ago. Internally, Xu Fan is filled with dark emotion and thoughts, but externally, he portrays himself with smiles and tries to comfort others. To complete this wish, Rover gathered data for Xu Fan. It was what he needed for the research he did with Zhu Li some time ago. Giving him the data opens up Xu Fan, leading Rover to learn about his true wish, which was to continue his research with his friend Zhu Li. As Xu Fan continues to blame himself for what happened in the past, Zhu Li comes in to interrupt him. The two were able to make up and Xu Fan's true wish was granted. For the second wish, it was a mother who was lonely due to her son, a Midnight Ranger, passing away in battle and had thoughts of going to be with him. However, she promised him to live a long life. Her feelings and promise are conflicting with each other and are currently clouding her thoughts. She hopes the Moontree Lodge could help her find a path forward. Rover and Xiangling Yao met up with He Ying and asked her to accompany them to the festival. Throughout the festival, He Ying puts up a cheerful front to make sure that Rover and Xiangling Yao aren't affected. However, they were able to see through this. Bringing He Ying to the shooting stall ran by the Midnight Rangers, she was introduced to soldiers that served alongside and was taught by her son. Hearing the stories about her son, He Ying seems to have found the answer she wanted. The third wish was about a child, Man, who wishes to be a hero. To do so, he was willing to risk his life to awaken a forte. Looking for Man, Rover rescued him from Tacit Discord. To ensure Man's safety, Rover made a promise to him. In exchange for stories of heroes that Rover knows, the child will no longer pull these dangerous stunts. After returning, Xiangling Yao suggests that Rover becomes the kid's model of heroism. Not about the superhuman feats, but the action Rover takes for others and the authenticity of who they are. Meeting Xiangling Yao at the Moontree Lodge, Patty had turned into a Sonarosphere due to the final wish. The words Patty says are Tacitfield, Hate, Pascar, the world. Pascar was a close friend of Xiangling Yao that died from a wave-worn phenomenon. The Sonarosphere might be the lingering frequency of Pascar, containing a message for Xiangling Yao. In the Sonarosphere, we learn about Xiangling Yao's past and childhood trauma through texts and cutscenes. First, we are introduced to child Xiangling Yao, who was in his room waiting for his missing father's return. That was the first time he met Pascar, who took him out of his room. The next scene, we move on to Oda Pascal and Xiangling Yao. They're currently students of a research institute. Here we find wishes. One of Pascal, which is to pursue the truth no matter the cost. Xiangling Yao questions if the pursuit of truth is truly solitary. Xiangling Yao also learned that the Moontree Lodge was a design of his father's, which led to the conclusion that his father was the person granting wishes. For the next scene, we are in a laboratory during the time of the Moon Chasing Festival. When the research progresses, the researcher thanks Pascal and Xiangling Yao. However, as the research failed year after year and Xiangling Yao was no longer around, they asked for him through Pascal. When the research continued to produce no results, they turned on Pascal, saying that Pascal is a nobody compared to Xiangling Yao. Pascal's wish was corrupted by obsession and became twisted. The last confrontation happened and we learned the truth. Pascal didn't set off the waveform phenomenon, but actually created a prototype that predicted tacit field, and he was there to confirm it. Pascal just wanted to save the world, but was seen as the culprit that triggered the waveform phenomenon. This sonar was left behind to deliver a message to Xiangling Yao. Pascal was able to predict the tacit field and wanted to share that knowledge with him. However, it was corrupted and became a twisted obsession due to negative emotions. To put Pascal's lingering will at ease, Xiangling Yao told him that they were able to restore the knowledge Pascal left behind, and named it the Pascal spectrum theory. This theory is currently advancing tacit field research today. With this, Rover completed and granted 4 wishes, plus an extra bonus wish of Xiangling Yao. Returning to the Moon Chasing Festival, Rover checked on Shifan, He Ying, and Man. The 3 of them are doing fine. With Rover's help with the wishes, our solitary scholar, Xiangling Yao, learned the importance of human connection. Xiangling Yao was conflicted with what path to choose, whether it was his mother's path of pursuing the truth or his father's path of the Moontree Lodge. With Rover's assistance, he came to his own conclusion that it's fine to pursue both, a path of his own straight down the middle. He could put all his efforts to venture forth in pursuit of knowledge, and when he's done, he'll be returning to open arms. After this is a beautiful cutscene of the Moon Chasing Festival festivities. If you wish to experience it again, check it out on YouTube on the official Wuthering Waves channel. It's called Wuthering Waves Story Cinematic, Eve of Celebration. And that concludes 1.2 story. Moving on to 1.3. With the conclusion of the Moon Chasing Festival, we return to business. Rover meets up with Yang Yang at port city of Guishu. There they meet Yohu, an expert in antiques. Yohu is here to uncover clues about the hidden antiques that have been flooding the market ever since Mount Firmament opened. The mysterious items don't seem to be from Mount Firmament at all, and Yohu believes they're from the port city of Guishu. The reason Yang Yang called Rover over is because the members of Black Shore will be here and maybe they can provide information on Black Shore and Rover themselves. There, we meet a bloombearer named Naya. She requested help from us due to an abnormal frequency being detected in the port city, and her team is here to investigate. The frequency seems to be gravity-based, and if left alone, a disaster will occur. Investigating the abnormal frequency, Rover encounters it in human form. It calls Rover Astral Modulator, and calls itself the gravitational force Rover seeks. Then, another person took over, introducing herself as Hoda, a former bloombearer of Black Shore. The gravitational force says that Rover turned their back on Black Shore. It wants Rover to remember and respond to the promise they made and the future they're bound to share with it. Salvation is forging a world where saving is no longer needed. I believe this is the promise Rover made with the entity. Hoda seems to be fighting the gravitational force in the body and tells Rover to not become a part of them. She is fighting to make sure that doesn't happen. Before disappearing, she tells Rover that Yohu has what Rover is seeking. The abnormal frequency is actually hiding in a drive-like object that Yohu has. Instead of entering the area of chaotic frequency to investigate, the team decide to return to Nia and leave it in the hands of experts instead. As the team returns to Nia, they are ambushed midway by tacit discords. However, they were saved by a mysterious person who teleports Rover away. Rover appears on the shore. The mysterious person welcomed Rover home before disappearing. Rover wanders the island, passing through a cave before being greeted by Alto. Alto is surprised to see that Rover has arrived at Black Shore. It seems that Rover was teleported here, and the mysterious person was someone called Shorekeeper. Shorekeeper is the guardian of Blackshore who is always watching Blackshore's true leader and shielding the bloom bearers from danger. With Alto's help, Rover plans to upload the abnormal frequency to Tethys' system, so they can avoid another lament in the port city of Guishu. To do that, they head towards the greenhouse. Along the way, they experience earthquakes. The current earthquakes at Blackshore are caused by the Tethys system's malfunction. Also along the way, Rover was able to contact Yohu and Yang Yang and learned that they were safely returned to Jinzhou. Qisha and Yang Yang are currently reinforcing their defense against the lament of port city of Guishu. Before the greenhouse, Rover met with Ku Money. Ku Money is a robot of Blackshore. The robots can be considered a living race of their own with a unique personality programmed by Tethys. They are all connected to Tethys and can access data and communicate with other robots around Blackshore as well. With Ku Money's help, you were able to upload the abnormal frequency to Tethys' system. From Ku Money, Rover also learned that there is no registered bloom bearer named Hoda in their records. Also, there is no record of anyone with the ability to control gravity. Another person Rover met on the way was Monica, Chief Administrator, also known as Housekeeper. Monica gave Rover and Alto a briefing of the current situation. To resolve the lament of the port city of Guishu, they needed Tethys to function again. They're currently taking steps to stabilize Tethys. Discussing Hoda with Monica, it seemed that our protagonist was tricked. Hoda resides in the abnormal frequency and was uploaded to Tethys. However, the gravitational force that resides in Hoda also was uploaded alongside her. The gravitational force made themselves at home inside the Tethys system. As the earthquakes got worse, Monica tasked Rover with checking on the modulation device residing in the greenhouse while they try to stabilize Tethys and prevent further harm. Entering the greenhouse, Rover was greeted by Ku Water and Ku Plants. The two robots felt that Rover looks familiar to them, but they can't remember where they met. When Ku Plant scanned Rover's face, Tethys reacted to it. However, as Ku Plant found a record in the system about Rover, it instantly disappeared. It seems that Tethys is hiding something from Rover and instructed Ku Water and Ku Plant to leave. The modulation device was a self-playing piano. As Rover touched it, it reacted and a memory appeared. Rover of the past was teaching someone the piano. Rover is telling the person to express their emotions through music. The earthquakes continues and the abnormality seems to be affecting Blackshore. Something is causing Tethys to go haywire. Abnormal frequency is being released. The data stored of real-life entities are being materialized into reality by drawing the energy from the tacitite beneath Blackshore. Kuki is sent to Rover to guide them and assist with repairing the code to Tethys and halt the spread of corrupted data. Every time Rover clears an anchor, a vision is shown to Rover of Blackshore in the past, with a monologue from the previous Rover. Personally, I believe it's like a recording that Rover of the past left for the present. This happens 2 times.
This is the beginning of a new story. Its geographical coordinates remain unchanged. Everything is as it was. Even time leaves no traces on the tacitite. This world has not yet begun. But we have already seen its end. They too will be as fragile and lost as we once were. But this time, we will show them what we believe in.
What was that?
The story is unfolding. The lament is not an entirely unpredictable natural disaster. To confront one's enemy, one must first understand them. However, even now, we can only anticipate and warn of the lament's coming. Advanced predictions, including those of the etheric sea and the tacit fields, remain beyond our reach. Our battle against the lament cannot be won by a chosen few. Every soul must join. The lament is our shared enemy, tearing apart the land and ripping people from their homes, their lives. It will take everyone to build a world that can thrive amidst so much ruin. This is something only we, as human beings, can achieve.
Another one.
On the third cleansing of the anchor, a hole appeared in the middle of Blackshore. A vision of Rover from the beginning of the game at the Gorge of Spirits was shown. Shorekeeper was there at the very beginning, and she was always watching Rover.
Gorges of Spirits. I can only go as far as you commanded. From the etheric sea to Sonoro. From time to space.
Hey, Yang Yang, look! Somebody's over there! Wait, is she dead? Or just unconscious?
Your story begins here. Go forth. I am forever by your side.
After clearing all the corrupted data, Rover met up with Alto and learned that Hoda was a field medic of Black Shore that died hundreds of years ago at port city of Guishu. The entity inside of Hoda is registered as Necrostar in the Tethys system. Necrostar, from my personal interpretation, is a bundle of souls. They are currently trapped in the event horizon of a black hole, and they are cursed to eternal suffering and are denied the solace of death, and hope that Rover can end the Mobius loop. For those who don't know, a Mobius loop, better known as a Mobius strip, is a non-orientable geometric shape, meaning if an object slides around the strip once, it returns to its starting position as its mirror image. As Hoda disappears, Shorekeeper appears, in hologram form to welcome Rover home. Shorekeeper introduced herself as the assistant manager of Black Shore when Rover founded it. From her, we learned a few things about Rover. First, Rover was an anchor for the world, but left to wander the boundaries between this realm and the next. Second, Rover has lost more than just memories. Third, when Rover left, Tethys system became the sole leader of Black Shore, and no one knew who Rover was. It was all designed this way by Rover of the past. 4. Rover is the only one that could mend the abnormal frequency. To uncover the reason why Rover cut ties with their past, restoration of the Tethys system is required. The portal that opened earlier is a stargate that leads to the depths of Black Shore. Beyond the Black Shore lies Solaris itself. Arriving at Black Shore's depths, Rover enters the Bank of Life. Rover learned from a robot that Shorekeeper never visited here for 20 years, 5 months, and 17 days, which holds significance as the sighting of the first resonator that we learned in 1.0 was around 20 years ago, which means that Shorekeeper was already watching Rover for over 20 years. Traveling towards the core of the Tethys system, we learned 2 things from Shorekeeper who accompanied us. First, the star in the skies of Black Shore's depths are actually data that Tethys transformed. Second, the discarded data is turned into something called Necrostar. The Necrostar is the black hole that destroyed port city of Guishu, a lament. The current goal is to remove the corruption inside the Necrostar in the modulation hall. When absorbing the Necrostar, Abby appeared to warn Rover about absorbing weird frequencies. Shorekeeper calls Abby the One, a frequency that dwelled within Rover for a very long time. A good thing to note is that Shorekeeper is worried about Rover's condition when they interact with Abby. Arriving at Idascope, where Shorekeeper's body resides, Rover was shown a vision of the lament. The desperation and grief that accompanied it. It was a burden that Shorekeeper bears as she assists with Tethys computational analysis. Now, moving with her actual body, Shorekeeper vows to break the shackles of fate, hoping to unravel the Mobius loop that binds Rover. The two arrive at the modulation hall. Remodulating the Necrostar would stop the data overflow in Tethys. To remodulate something, a dimension called the Stellar Matrix is created, allowing interaction and retrieval of data. Shorekeeper will be coming along, saying she wishes to keep her promise. I believe the promise is the vow she made earlier. Continuing through the digital port city of Guishu with Shorekeeper, we learn more things about Rover. First, Rover was present and witnessed the fall of port city of Guishu. Second, they attempted to rescue as many people of Guishu as possible. Third, Rover believed that no life should be lost in vain. Meeting up with Hoda, we learned the truth of Tethys. The lament of port city of Guishu was a black hole. Those engulfed become part of the black hole. Tethys was able to contain it, turning it into a Necrostar. is study it in a controlled environment to fully understand the lament's nature, allowing Tethys to observe it. Tethys was using the lament against future laments. For a long time, Hulda has been keeping Tethys in check inside the Necrostar. She learned that the lament follows patterns and can be controlled. As Tethys attempts to activate the Necrostar program, Hulda slowly fades away. Before she left, she told Rover to use gravity, the only law from the old world that still holds true today. Issues related to gravity are still not fully explainable with post-lament science. Reaching the top of the tower, the team's goal was to retrieve the piano, the modulation device to commence modulation of the Necrostar. However, as they were about to succeed, Tethys attempted to take Rover as its core computational unit. Shorekeeper couldn't let Rover's journey end there and sacrificed herself instead. This allowed Tethys to enable its backup plan. The scene fades as Rover meets with Shorekeeper at End of Wandering, a special place in Black Shore just for the two of them. The sky here is filled with stars, the data of Solaris. Rover is the brightest star of humanity. Shorekeeper wishes for Rover to continue their journey, and they will meet again somewhere in the future. The Tethys system needs a core unit capable of feeling emotions to function, and if the lament's data filled with negative emotion ceases to be the core, someone else must fill the void. Shorekeeper will bear the burden of being the core so that Rover can continue their journey. Rover exits the cellular matrix, restoring the Tethys system. In their hand was Starlight, a special Blake bloom that symbolized the supreme authority of Black Shore, owned by the leader of the organization, given to them by Shorekeeper. It's now for a new mission: rescue Shorekeeper. Rover believes that being sucked into Necrostar, Shorekeeper is still falling inside a black hole, meaning she hasn't fully integrated into the Tethys system. To rescue Shorekeeper, they must fight against the Tethys system itself, and the person with the highest clearance needs to act as a decoy. However, no one has that level of clearance except for Shorekeeper. The Black Shore members learned that Shorekeeper handed Rover her authority and remembered the ancient prophecy. Rover, their true leader, has come to guide Black Shore forward. A little nice detail in the game you'd notice is that when Rover gives their speech, their name is now Astral Modulator, the title they used in the past at Black Shore. Entering the Tethys system, Rover was greeted by Tethys as Chief Steward. Rover told Tethys that they were here to retrieve Shorekeeper, but Tethys wasn't willing to relent and revoke Rover's admin access. They got into a heated argument with Rover believing that people didn't need to be sacrificed, while Tethys took on a utilitarian approach and believed that sacrifice is necessary for the greater good.
Objection. All sacrifices are necessary. The purpose of human civilization is to survive. Over the past 10,000 years, a total of 5 global occurrences and over 300,000 regional occurrences of the lament have been observed. Thanks to this system's calculations and the Sentinel's data, we have averted all potential threats to human civilization on Solaris. Individual sacrifices are inconsequential in the broader context of the common good. Additionally, the Shorekeeper is composed of the Sonoro and is not human. Emotions are unnecessary for survival. Error. Unable to process. Repeat. Forceful discharge of the core unit will result in system crash. A world without this system is doomed to perish in the lament. Correction. This system is designed to preserve human civilization, Every command is infallible. Error. Unable to process. Last warning. Forceful discharge of the core unit will activate the defense program. Consequences will be severe.
As Tethys tries to stop Rover, we have a very cinematic chase through the Tethys system until Rover escapes and fight against Tethys' guardian. Upon rescuing Shorekeeper, the two return to End of Wandering, and a heartfelt cinematic plays. You could watch the cinematic again on Wuthering Waves' official YouTube channel. It's called Wuthering Waves Story Cinematic Echoing. Arriving back at Black Shore, Shorekeeper explained the reason she sacrificed herself. When Rover established Black Shore in the past to unite Solaris, the Tethys system already existed. It relied on emotions from the lament to fuel its calculation, but using the lament itself is walking on a Mobius loop with no end in sight. They tried to break the cycle for a long time with no success. So, Rover left to find other solutions. But the best solution was something that Rover couldn't accept. The solution was for Shorekeeper to become the computational core. If she doesn't, then Rover would have to take her place instead. She wishes to protect Rover, which led to the events that played out. This concludes the story of Wuthering Waves 1.3. For the epilogue, Rover meets with Shorekeeper 2 days later at the greenhouse. Shorekeeper tells Rover that Abby is hungry for something, and that she will look into it using the Tethys system and share what she finds. Currently, Tethys' computational core has similar properties to the Lament, but is more mild and harmonious. Although Shorekeeper still needs to watch over the Black Shore and manage it, she has more freedom, no longer tied to Tethys or Black Shore, and can bathe in the sunshine and feel the sea breeze. Moving on to 1.4, we start near Winding Ike's mire, where Rover overheard a conversation regarding a missing package between an exile and a person named Tin Hu. The exile was fairly angry regarding it, so Rover decided to follow them to make sure they don't try anything dangerous. The exile confronted Lumi, the logistics team captain of Lulu Logistics, regarding the package. After a bit of persuasion, the exile said he would come back in a few days. Rover then formally meets Lumi and was asked to keep an eye out for the package at Winding Ike's mire. There, the problem emerged. From the entrance of the Som Nor, a giant train came crashing out with the white cat, the Ivory Gatekeeper. To explain, the Som Nor is an unknown realm on Solaris 3 where dreams converge. Every being who dreams would wander into the Som Nor in their sleep. The Ivory Gatekeeper, who lost a lot of their power, wishes for Rover to investigate the situation. Entering the Som Nor, there was nothing there except a giant black cat, the Ebony Gatekeeper. Approaching the giant cat, a red eye appeared. Rover was then teleported somewhere else once more. Meeting Elusia, Rover learned they were the only one able to restore the Som Nor to its rightful place. Thus begins the dream walking. To restore the Som Nor, Rover had to dream walk through people's dreams and help the Ivory Gatekeeper restore its authority. The Som Nor is currently trapping parts of people's consciousness in their dreams, and due to the instability, it is mostly nightmares. By bringing their consciousness out of the dreams, the Som Nor would continue to stabilize. To keep it brief, I'll give you a summary of the dreams in chronological order. First starting with Lumi, then Joji, Encore, Yenlin, Changli, and Camilla. Except for Lumi, the dream traced back partially to their companion stories, so check those out when you have the time. For Lumi, she feared not being a good enough captain, thus taking on the burden of many tasks on her own. However, with Rover's guidance, she was able to talk to Tang Tang and learn the importance of supporting each other. For Joji, she feared becoming a tool for money, and her attempts at creating new art would be for nothing. However, with Rover's support, she escaped the nightmare and gained a little bit more confidence in herself and her art. For Encore, well, she was basically telling you a story, and there were like no nightmares at all. It was just your old standard Encore story. So that's that. After rescuing 3 people from the unstable Som Nor, there is an interlude in which Rover learned about the perpetrator, the Ebony Gatekeeper, and why he is causing the instability of the Som Nor. The Som Nor was created to save the world from the lament. The dreams it stores contains endless possibilities, and perhaps one of those dreams lies the key to defeating the lament. However, dreams that don't help in defeating the lament are considered worthless, thus the Ebony's Gatekeeper's job is to delete them. The Ebony Gatekeeper believes that every dream is precious and should not be erased, regardless of whether it helps defeat the lament or not. However, the Somnor storage space is finite. To keep these dreams, the Ebony Gatekeeper is expanding the Somnor into reality, causing gateways to appear. The Ebony Gatekeeper then disappears, planning to accelerate the expansion of the Somnor. Rover continues their dream walk to stop the Ebony Gatekeeper, hoping to stop the expansion and restore the Ivory Gatekeeper's authority to keep the Ebony Gatekeeper in check. For Yinlin, she had a nightmare of making mistakes on a mission, becoming a nobody and having nowhere to belong. With Rover's support, Yinlin was able to find herself once more. Knowing that someone out there supports her reassures her. For Changli, she dreamed of an old case back in Hongjin that she solved with Xin Yi's help. With Rover's arrival, Changli informed them that she knew she was dreaming. Making herself a part of the game will allow her to assist Rover much better. For Camilla, she dreamed of Rover. However, this Rover in her dream couldn't satisfy her and was easily defeated. A Rover that wasn't powerful was a nightmare, causing her to slowly lose her sanity. Our Rover was able to reach her in time and wake her up through battle. After saving everyone, it was time for the final confrontation against the Ebony Gatekeeper. Alongside the Ivory Gatekeeper, everyone Rover saved came along to assist them in battle. The team was able to stop the Ebony Gatekeeper from expanding the Somnor. You can check out the final cutscene at the Wuthering Waves YouTube channel, Wuthering Waves Story Cinematic Somnor. After defeating the Ebony Gatekeeper, Rover learned from the Ivory Gatekeeper that the Somnor wasn't created by just one person. Rover of the past told the Ivory Gatekeeper to keep the creation and things regarding the Somnor a secret, even from Rover themselves. Rover is the Dreamwalker, the only one who can come and go in the Somnor as they please. And of course, I'm sure you all guessed it, but the entire thing was done inside a dream. To stop a realm of dreams from going on a rampage, how else would you do it except inside a dream? After waking up, Rover returned to Lumi with the package. Although damaged, the content inside was intact. Before the exile could make it into a bigger deal, Tenhu, leader of the Cruising Drake, stopped him and accepted the package. He wishes to know Rover better and would always welcome Rover to join the Cruising Drakes one day. Afterwards, Rover parted ways with Lumi, ending the story of 1.4. I hope you liked the summarization of 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4 story. Sorry that it took so long to come out. I know I did not cover a lot of parts regarding Shorekeeper, her being a Sonaro and not human, and her development of emotions. Please forgive me for that since I want to capture the more broad story with this summary. Do read up on her story or check out other videos regarding Shorekeeper that other YouTubers might have if you have the time. If you have not done the companion stories for the characters in 1.4, please do check it out. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. If you have anything you want me to take a look at, let me know in the comments below. This is Shin checking out. I hope to see you all in Rinascita. Bye bye.